So we'll just find our starting point to begin with. So just bring the feet hip distance. Finding those 3 points of contact, so big toe, little toe and heel. Soft bend through the knee. Just coming to stand tall through the spine. So imagining that balloon, that chain, just pulling the head up towards the ceiling. So just feel the vertebra begin to separate. So just feel that length coming through the spine, just allowing the head to float on top. Just holding that imaginary little tennis ball there. So just resting the arms by the side, shoulders should sort of fall naturally down the back. Now just coming to find neutral with your pelvis. So turning your tailbone under, so feeling the low back flatten. So tilting the pelvis backwards, coming into neutral. Tilting the pelvis forwards now, so arching through the low back. So just mobilizing a little bit through the low back as well. If you've been sort of sitting down or driving, that can get quite sort of static and still. So just taking the pelvis forwards and backwards just to warm up a little bit. We're just coming to rest now in that midway point of neutral, just noticing how that feels. So we'll do a little bit of a connection with the breath, and then we'll take that through the session as well. So inhaling, so drawing the air into the lungs. So feel the rib cage beginning to expand laterally here. And as you exhale through the mouth, just feel it begin to soften down. So yeah, you can place your hands on your rib cage if you want to. So as you inhale, the fingers separate. So just to notice that the breath is going into the side of the rib cage. And as you exhale through the mouth, they should come back together again. So really squeezing all the air out of the lungs. Inhale through the nose. And this time as we exhale through the mouth, just begin to pull that tummy button in towards the spine. So just beginning to hollow through the abdominals, just to start to activate those supporting muscles. Inhale. And exhale. So starting to feel that corset, that support beginning to activate. Last one, inhale. Exhale, let's pull that tummy button in towards the spine and start to activate those pelvic floor muscles as well. So the muscles we use when we try and stop ourselves from going to the loo. So feel sort of right around the bottom of your low back. Okay, so we'll keep prompting those throughout the session. We're just going to start with some upper body mobilization. So inhaling. As we exhale, just circling the shoulders backwards. So just opening up that low back. Definitely need this today. I can always tell when I've stressed at work because this whole shoulder and my neck go really sore. It's like my little stress barometer. It's been quite sore today. So just taking it forwards and backwards, just keeping that rigidity, that stability through the midsection. So we're just mobilizing through the shoulder. Taking it a little bit wider now, so maybe lifting the elbows up towards your shoulders. Squeezing the elbows as they come behind you, so really squeezing those shoulder blades together. It's making the most of that circle. Coming now to rest in the center, and we'll take it round the other way. So inhale. Exhale, let's take it forward. Just small to begin with, and then we'll get gradually a little bit bigger as we warm up. So exhale on the effort, inhale as you come back around to the front, drop the shoulders down. We're just gradually getting a little bit bigger with your circles, keeping that length through the spine. Let's do another 3. Really bringing those elbows up high now, squeezing as you come forward. And last one, lower those arms down by your sides. Just give them a little shake out. So bringing our focus now down to our feet. So we have looked at our foot placement before, but I just want to reiterate that really as the basis for all of our movement. So we're going to do our heel-toe steps. So as we naturally walk, we want to go heel-toe. So just noticing those 3 points of contact with the feet. So we want big toe, the heel to touch first, then the big toe, little toe together. So just find one foot and just roll through the heel. Just coming up onto the ball of the foot and then going back to the start. So just taking it at your own pace, just lifting the toes as you come up to the front. Just finding that motion through the foot. So taking the ankle really into its full range of flexion. So we're pulling the toes up towards the shin and then taking them along towards the floor. So our feet tend to get stuck in sort of one position all day, particularly if we're seated. So come and bring that foot down. We'll flip it over to the other side. So inhaling, just checking with your posture. Exhale, let's begin by rolling onto the heel and then the toe. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale. Oh, so just enjoy that nice lifting up through the arch, working the whole length of the foot. And then just bringing your focus to your supporting foot as well. So that's still working hard to keep you stable. So just noticing those same 3 points. So working one leg dynamically, one leg in its static position. Okay, let's do a couple more. Heel and up to the toe and bring the feet both back together. So now you know what that full movement, what that full sort of base of support feels like. I'm just going to keep the feet nice and stable. So just bringing them back to hip distance. So just engaging now a little bit deeper into our core. So we're just going to go into some foot sway. So we're going to take the body side to side. So we want to keep everything from the, well, really from the head down to the ankles in this straight line. We're just mobilizing through the ankle joint. So inhaling here. And as we exhale, just flowing over to one side, keeping the feet pushed into the floor. So keeping those 3 points of contact on both sides. We just imagine here that you're moving between 2 panes of glass. So we just want to be going from side to side. So just keep it nice and slow. Just get that feedback from your body that you're going in the right direction, just bringing it back. Do a couple more on each side, just allow the arms to follow, just let them hang loosely. And just think about here what your core and pelvic floor are doing to stabilize you. So if you kind of let go of your supporting structures, it's not quite so easy to keep control of that movement, but if you keep it lifted and active, then everything sort of moves, flows nicely together. Okay, bring it back to center. We're going to take it backwards and forward now, a little bit trickier because our base of support, sorry, our center of gravity is sort of forcing us to fall forward. So we want to keep that control. So inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to come forward. So take the upper body forward, keeping the heels pushed down. So just a small movement. Back to center. Exhale, take it back. Use your toes to keep you grounded. A little bit tricky going backwards. Just take it backwards and forwards. Keeping long through the spine, just allowing your shoulders to relax. Just articulating here through the ankle joint. Let's do a couple more. Exhale to go backwards. Inhale to center. Last one. Exhale. And exhale it back. Coming to rest now in center. Just give your knees a little bit of shake. Matching those two movements together now. So working on our balance and also working on some mobility within our ankles. So we're going to go into some foot pedals. So just starting again in neutral. Your arms can be to start with wherever you need them to be to balance. So whether it's by your side, on your hips, out in front of you. So inhaling here. As we exhale, I'm just going to roll onto the ball of one foot. And as we inhale, we're going to push it down. Push that heel back down. So bring those 3 points of contact back down with the floor. Take it onto the other side. And inhale it down. So just noticing here what the knee is doing. So we want the knee to be coming directly over the toe. So we don't want the knee to be sort of rolling out to the side. So if you look from the front, we don't want this to happen. We want to keep that single plane of motion. So working more here into the hip flexors to keep the leg nice and stable. So just rolling from side to side up onto the ball of the foot. Keep that length through the spine here as well. One more on each side. Getting that mobility here through the ankle. So we're going to add the arms now. So bringing a little bit of diagonal coordination. So just, again, just bringing attention to the core as the center of the movement. So we want everything from sort of the arms down to the hips to stay facing forward. So we don't want to bring any rotation into the movement. So let's begin here. Inhale. As we exhale, just rolling onto the ball of the foot, we're going to take the opposite arm just up to our shoulder. Inhale it back. Exhale. Now we've got two parts of the body moving. So again, we just want them to move in that single plane of motion. Don't allow the knee to deviate out to the side. So just nice and slow, just bring everything together. Always coming back to the core. So we want to keep that contraction through the midsection. Exhale. One more each side, and then if you want to, we're going to bring it up a level. Pushing that heel back behind you as you come down. And back to center. So if you're happy with that level, we can stay there. Otherwise, we're going to bring a little bit more height, a little bit more energy into the movement. So we're going to pedal the feet sort of together. So we can take one up, one down. So we're going to swap sort of quite quickly rather than moving them in isolation. So beginning here, as we exhale, just begin by raising one heel, one arm. And then as we inhale, we're going to swap to the other side. So we exhale on one side and inhale on the other. Choose which side you want to work with. So just working a little bit deeper again into our core to keep that stability. So just remembering those headlights on the front of our hips. We want them to keep facing forward. So exhale one side, inhale the other. Always pushing that back heel down beside you, keeping your length through the spine. Let's do another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Bring it all back to center. Everybody all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to up it a little bit more in terms of our balance, working deeper into our core and into our spine extensors and stabilizers. So just shifting the weight onto one foot. Again, just find those 3 points of contact and just lighten the load on the foot. Again, you can have your hands where you need them to be to balance to start with. Inhaling here. And as we exhale, we're just going to lift the toes of one foot off the floor. So lifting up through the waist, really working into that core. And inhale it back. Swapping over to the other side now. Let's exhale. And lift. Just take the toe as far as you're able to whilst maintaining your balance. So it's not about pushing yourself, it's about bringing control and precision to that movement. So then you can build that muscle memory and progress when you're ready. Over to the other side, let's bring that knee up. Keeping long here through the spine, inhale it back. Just shifting that weight from side to side onto those 3 points of contact. Lifting that foot as far as you're comfortable. So you can go up to your hip if you want to, otherwise you can just place the toe on the floor or somewhere in between. Shifting it from side to side. Let's lift that toe. And inhale it down, coming back onto that heel. Last one, let's lift. And lower it down. So building it up again, we're going to add some arms again to this movement. So if you're happy just keeping your hands on your hips or wherever, that's fine. If you want to take it a little bit further, just again, always coming back here to your core. Let's shift the weight onto one foot. And as we exhale, we're going to lift one foot and take one arm up to shoulder height. So take the knee up as far as you're comfortable. Keep control of that movement. Inhale, bring it back. Shift that weight to the opposite side. Let's exhale. And inhale. Just really keeping it slow here. And take it up the other side. Just find a point of focus in the distance. Help you balance. And up to the other side. Pointing that toe down towards the floor if you're lifting your foot. Just bring a little bit more length through the back of the leg. Another couple on each side. And lower it down. Shifting the weight. Let's exhale as we lift. Last 2 now. Nearly there. Exhale. And lower it down. And last one. Exhale. Rolling into your core. And down. Sort of concept really. We're going to take the leg out to the side. If you notice as you just sort of lift the leg without thinking, then you get that kind of twist through the low back. And if you activate here through the side of the leg, then you can move that leg independently whilst keeping the low back quite safe. So we're just going to keep stick with one leg. So just find your favoured leg for starting. Again, just taking the hands where you want them to be. And just finding your 3 points of contact on your supporting leg. It'll bend through the knee. Just lighten the load on your moving leg. Just finding neutral with your spine coming toward, sorry, neutral with your pelvis toward through the spine. Inhale. And as we exhale, I'm just going to take the foot out to the side. So again, it might just be a tiny little lift. That's absolutely fine. But we want the movement to be coming from here, from the medius and the side of the glutes. Working into the outside of the thigh. Bring it back. Exhale, let's lift. Squeeze that leg out to the side. And bring it down. We'll do another 4. Let's do 6. And lower. Keeping your point of focus here, working into your core to help with that balance. Last 2, exhale. And lower. Last time, squeeze. And bring it back, well done. Now, so just resting on your opposite foot. Putting your hands where you want them to be, just checking in with your pelvis. Shifting your weight now onto that supporting leg, inhale. And as we exhale, let's take that leg out to the side. Engage that glute first, and then we lift. Inhale. Exhale. Might find it a little bit tricky this side because you've probably gone on your non-dominant leg now. Always a bit trickier. Let's do another 3. Squeeze that one. Feel the thigh working. That's 2. And last one. Exhale. Lower it down, well done, just dip through the knees. Good. So we have done this before, but we'll go through it again, so it's quite a functional movement, and then we'll add some of our foot pedals to it as well. So we're just going to start with our hands just resting on our thighs, just come and find a neutral posture, keeping the heels pushed down so the feet are staying in contact with the floor. So inhaling here, and as we exhale, we're just going to slide the hands down the knees as we bend, so coming into a little chair sit. So keeping the pelvis neutral, so we don't want this to happen. We want to keep the upper body as upright as possible, so work into the core, into those spine extensors, just coming to rest at that lowest point where we can keep the heels on the floor, so we don't want to go too far. Inhale, let's bring it up. Bringing that length back into your spine. Exhale, let's go again. And inhale, lift. We'll do another 2, then we'll change the position of the arms so that you're working your core more independently, because hands just provide that little bit of guidance, stop us going too far forward. Exhale, let's slide it down. Inhale. So the arms are going to come and float out in front of us now. So we're going to do the same thing again. If you find that when you're dipping down that this is happening too much, then just take the hands back. I'll need to work a little bit more into core stability and the spine extensors. Otherwise, we're taking the arms to here. And as we exhale, we're just going to dip. Keep that tailbone turned under, working now through the ankles. Inhale, bring it back, long through the spine. We'll do another 3, exhale. And just being mindful of what your legs are doing. So we don't want the knees to roll in towards each other. We want the knees to be moving in line with the hips and the feet. So just engaging through the thigh muscles to keep them in place. Exhale. And inhale, well done. Bringing the hands just back now onto your hips. So if you're happy with what we're just doing, you can stay there. Otherwise, we're going to go into our little dip and then add our heel lifts as well. So we're sort of shortening here through the hip flexors at the front, so they're having to work a little bit harder, so just providing a bit more strength to the front of the hips. So inhale. As we exhale, let's just dip it down, so keeping the pelvis neutral. And we're going to stay here, so keeping the upper body where it should be. Inhale. So exhale, let's peel one heel off the floor. Inhale it down, so pushing that heel back behind you. Take it to the side and down. So just taking it from side to side. If you need to just straighten the knees and come back, you can do. So just moving it from side to side, feel yourself working into your core. And if you let your core go again, you'll probably feel that you're naturally just want to slump forward. So just thinking about the role of the core here as well, the abdominals. The last two on each side. Exhale. Last one. 4 and 2. Well done. Pushing back up to standing. Just give your legs a shake. So we're going to come onto all fours now. So looking again at working the arms and legs independently and then together, whilst keeping the low back nice and stable. So going to rest on all fours. So if you need to place anything on your knees or your wrists, you can do. So we want to see a right angle here from the hip, knee and ankle. Legs are hip distance apart again. And a straight line from the shoulder down to the wrist. Just have a slight bend in the elbow. I noticed on myself, I straighten my elbow, they actually hyperextend. So we're going to go to our cat and cow, just again to mobilise through the back. Nice spine mobiliser without putting any pressure on the lumbar spine. So just bringing the head in line with the spine, so remembering that tennis ball to begin with. Just pushing away from the mat, so just pushing the heels of the hands into the floor, just to provide a stronger base of support. So inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to drop the tummy down towards the floor. The tailbone tilts up towards the ceiling and the head comes up to look forward. So really extending here through the spine. Inhale here. And as we exhale, let's reverse. So bringing the chin in towards the chest, spine curls up towards the ceiling as the tailbone turns under. So full flexion here through the spine. Inhale, exhale, let's push it down. Now remembering our core contraction or pelvic floor here as we go. So as we're exhaling, pulling that tummy button in, engaging those pelvic floor muscles. Inhale here. Exhale, let's take it up. Pull that tummy button in towards your spine to help you lift it up, turning tailbone under. We'll do one more in each direction. Inhale. Exhale, let's drop it down. Looking forward in front of you now if you lift the head. Inhale here. Exhale, let's squeeze the air out of the lungs as you round it up towards the ceiling, tucking that chin in towards the chest. And now just coming to rest in that midway point. So we've got our natural S-curve through the spine. Head is just floating up on top. If at any point you just want to sit back on your knees, on your heels, just to relieve your wrists, you can do. So we're just going to start with some shoulder stability, so moving through the arms. So as we exhale, we're just going to slide one arm forward in front of us. So just imagine that it's on a rail. And inhale it back. Exhale, let's switch to the other side, extend it forward. And inhale it back. So just taking it at your own pace here from side to side. Just always coming back to that midway point. Pushing away from the floor to keep that height and that strength through the shoulders. Not allowing the tummy to relax here. As soon as we relax the tummy, we start to slump towards the mat. So keep your abdominals nice and active. Pelvic floor is working. We'll do one more each side. Exhale. Inhale it back. Last one. Okay, if you're happy there, you can stay there. Otherwise, now as we exhale, the arm is going to come up to shoulder height. So going out in front of us, you can really reach through the fingers. Just feel that length through the shoulder. And inhale it back. Exhale, let's slide that arm, lift it upward. And back. We'll do two more each way. Exhale, let's lift. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, let's take it long. Really reaching through the fingers. Enjoy that nice stretch down the back of the arm. Bring it back. One more on each side. Take it long. Keeping that core contraction, remember. Last one. Exhale. And bring it back to center. We're just going to sit back on the heels for a minute, just to give the wrists and the elbows a little rest. On the knees, of course. Circle the wrists round if you want to. Okay, so let's bring it back up. So we're going to do the same movement now with the legs. So moving each leg independently. So as we were saying before, we want the movement to come from the glute. So if we do this automatically, we'll just sort of twist and turn. But if we're thinking about it, our core is active, we're engaging through the glutes. We can take that leg long without bothering the low back at all. So the movement is all coming here from the hip joint. So it's just about activating the right muscles at the right time. So coming to start in neutral. Inhaling, as we exhale, let's just contract through the core and just start to activate here through the glute muscles. And then start to lengthen the legs. So you may just want to go a little bit further behind in your hip. You can take it all the way to the end of your mat, just where you feel comfortable, and then we can gradually build up. So let's switch it over to the other side. Inhale. As we exhale, engage the core, pelvic floor, just start to activate through those glutes before we move the legs. So everything is in place, all that scaffolding is in place before we take that leg behind us. Bring it back to center. Inhale. Exhale, engage those muscles, and then we'll take the leg backwards. Pointing that toe behind you, feel that nice length through the hamstring. And back. Exhale, engage those muscles. Let's take the leg behind. Keeping pushed away through your hands as well. So we want to keep strong through the shoulders. Exhale, let's take that leg behind us. And last one, exhale. Engage those glutes, abdominals, take that leg long. And bring it back, well done. Let's just sit back again onto the heels. So if you have a little rest there, I'll just demonstrate. So as we progress this movement, we will go take the leg up behind. But really at this point, we'll do it when we're lying down, just so you've got that extra support under your hip. And I think at this point, without having that strength through the glutes, it's a bit strenuous to lift the whole leg in that position. So what we'll do is we'll just take the arms and legs forward, just sliding them forwards and backwards together. So coming to back onto all fours. The last movement in this position, I promise. So just with everything again, just coming from your center, from your core. Let's inhale. And as we exhale and slide one arm forwards as we take the opposite leg backwards. If it's too much, just choose the arm or the leg. You're just going to keep contact with the floor. If you want to lift the arm up, you can do, but the leg is going to stay on the floor for now. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, let's take the arm and leg long, really reaching. Feel that length through the back of the body. Lift the arm if you want to. Inhale it back. Exhale, remember, squeeze. We'll activate those muscles first before we move. So we want to always have those structures in place first and bring it back. We'll do one more now on the opposite side. Exhale. Squeeze those muscles, take it long, lift the arm if you want to. And bring it down. Bring the leg back into center and just sit back again onto the heels. Everyone all right? Yep. Good. Okay. So we're going to come and lie on our tummies. Play around with your pelvis. You want your spine to be nice and comfortable. So we want to feel that contact between the pubic bone and the hip bones on the floor. Just taking the arm out long in front of us to start with. Reaching through the shoulders. Just do a couple of breaths here just to notice that contraction through the core, because we're working against gravity in this position, so it's good just to know how it feels like so we know when we're doing it right. So inhale. Just allow the body to relax. And as you exhale, just feel the tummy button come up from the mat. So pulling it up towards your spine, pulling the pelvic floor muscles in as well. And as you inhale, feel the tummy button drop back down. So noticing that contact with the mat. Exhale, let's pull that tummy button in, lifting up through the pelvic floor. And inhale. Last one, exhale. Squeeze the air out of the lungs as you lift through the tummy. Inhale, bring it back down. Okay. So working with that rhythm of the breath, I'm just going to move the arms and the upper back to start with. So we just want to focus on mobilizing through the thoracic spine. So just as far as your bottom rib, your 12th rib. So inhale. As we exhale, I'm just going to start to slide the hands towards us as we lift up through the chest. So it should never be painful. You might feel a bit of discomfort as muscles start to waken up. So we're just coming to lift up to that bottom rib. So we don't want to start to hyperextending through the back. We want to learn to use the upper back independently of the lower back. So inhale, let's bring it back down. Take a big in-breath here. As we exhale, we lift the tummy button away from the floor as we lift up through the shoulders. So squeezing the shoulders together, help lift you up. Just raising through that upper back. And inhale it down. Exhale, let's do one more. And gently go. Okay, so the arms are now going to come down by our side. So just resting the head or the chin on the floor in front of you. Or if you've got a little towel or a cushion, you can use that. Just allowing the hands to rest by your sides. Palms are up towards the ceiling. So staying with the same movement here with our upper back. We're just allowing it to move more independently without the hands. So we learn to build that muscle rather than using the strength through the arms. So inhaling. And as we exhale, just lifting the head, neck and shoulders. So squeezing these shoulder blades to help you lift. Just hovering the arms off the floor. Again, just coming up onto that bottom rib. If it's too much, just take it down a little bit. And inhale it down. Exhale, so push the fingers down towards your knees to help you lift up through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And inhale it down. We'll do two more, so let's exhale. Remember to lift that tummy button away from the floor. And low down. Last one now, let's lift. Just to that bottom rib. And low down. Well done. You can place your hands under your head for now with the upper body a little bit of a rest. So we'll go into our leg extension. So as I demonstrated on all fours, it's really the same movement, the same muscles, but we've got that feedback from the floor, from the mat as to sort of what our hips are doing. So if you've got a mirror at home, you can sort of get that feedback visually, but in this sort of situation, it's good to have that sort of tactile feedback. You're just resting your head on your hands, pointing the toes long, just to start to activate through the length of the leg. So as we did when we were standing and we took the leg out to the side, we want to work to activate these muscles first before we move the leg. So I'm just going to do a few squeezes through our glutes. So inhale. As we exhale, remember we're still using our tummy button here, pulling in towards our spine, but at the same time we'll squeeze our butt cheeks together. Nice and tight. And then release, just so we know what that feels like. We know that we're using the right muscles. Exhale, let's squeeze. Imagine you've got a walnut there, you'll squeeze it. Crack it open and release. Exhale, let's squeeze, lift that tummy button up. And release, we'll do one more. Exhale, squeeze that bum, lift up through the core, feel the pelvic floor muscles working here. And release. Okay, so we're now going to engage the leg. So we want to lift the whole weight of the leg, so we want to keep the knees straight rather than bent. So inhale, just starting with one leg at a time. So just as we exhale, we're going to
just activate those core muscles and start to activate through the glutes. So rather than the side this time, we're going to like the main section of the bum cheek. So just begin to activate that. And then when you're ready, just hovering the toes off the floor. So you should really be feeling it sort of across the top of your buttock. And inhale it down. Just staying with one leg at a time, just so we keep that stability through the hip. Let's lift and lower. So your hip bones here shouldn't be moving. You should feel that same contact throughout because the leg's going backwards. So we're working through the hip extensors here. So there shouldn't be any movement either through your low back. So just lifting and lowering at your own pace. Just allow your glutes to lead the movement. Also working with the core just to provide that extra little bit of stability around your middle. And lower. Let's switch now to the other side. So just release your bum. Just give it a little bit of a shake if you need to. So just starting now on the other side, just begin to exhale. Let's activate through the core, activate those glute muscles, and let's just hover the toes off the floor. So lifting that whole weight of the leg and lowering it down. And exhale. Keeping the length through the toes, so don't allow your foot to go to sleep, keep it active. Do another 4, exhale. And lower. Exhale. So here we're learning that we can sort of move the upper body in extension and the lower body in extension without really bothering the low back too much. And then we can progress to move both at the same time whilst keeping the lower back nice and safe. Okay, let's lower it down, relax the legs. So take a breath here if you want to. Then we're going to come and lie on our sides. So we're going to lie on the side. You just prop yourself up on your elbow. Just keep the feet where they are in line with your hip. Push that top hip away from you. So you've got this length here from the rib and the hip bone, so long through the side of the body. Your hand can be on your hip, behind your head, in front of you, wherever you want it to be. The idea is that we keep this bit nice and stable. So activating here through our core. So I want you to imagine that you've got a big bolt running through your hip bone and another one running through your heel. So we're just using those as a pivot here. So we're going to lift the knee, go into a clam position. So we're using this muscle here, the medius glute, so the muscle that keeps the hip sort of stable when we're walking. So inhaling here. As we exhale, we're just going to rotate through the hip. Just lift that top leg up, keeping the heel and the hip stable. Inhale it down. Exhale, let's lift. And lower. And lift. And as you're lifting again, we're pulling through, hollowing through the abdominals, so providing that stability here. We'll do another 4. And 3. So just lifting the leg as far as you can feel something. So we don't want to take it so far that we start to then rotate through the low back. We're just learning to move here from this muscle. Let's do one more. And lower it down. We're going to take that leg long away from us. So pointing through the toe, you'll naturally extend here through the side of the body. So thinking about engaging again through the glutes, through our core. Just want to make little circles with the toe. It's very, very small to start with, so we want control and precision here, but most importantly, we want to keep the lower back safe. So we just want to isolate through that muscle. So through that joint. So the smaller the circles, the more we know what everything's doing. If you're happy to go a little bit wider, you can do. Just make sure everything is staying where it needs to be. Let's do another 3, 2, and 1. We're going to rest in the middle and we'll take it around the other way. Inhale, exhale, let's take it around.
So just inhaling as you come out of the circle, exhaling as you go into it. Keeping lifted up through the waist, so the upper body is working here as well, just to keep us where we need to be. Pointing through the length of the toe, feel the back of the leg nice and long. Let's do another couple. Okay, bring it down, bring the knees back together, give your hip a little bit of the rough. Okay, we're going to lift it up and flick it over to the other side. Just going to rest onto your elbow. Again, just bring the feet in line with your hip, pushing that top hip away from you, so lifting up through your waist. So you've got that bolt through your hip and through your ankle bone. So just think about sort of pivoting through that hip joint, leading here with the outside of the glutes. Lifting up through the waist. Inhale. Exhale as we pull that tummy button, pelvic floor in, and lift that leg. Inhale down. Exhale. We'll do another 6. Let's make it 8. So just hovering that knee and lowering it down. Seeing it working here in the outside, the top of your thigh. Let's do another 4. And 3, squeeze. Last 2. Exhale, lift. Exhale, lift. Last 1. Well done. Hip a rub if you need to. Let's take that top leg along now. So the foot is hovering above the floor. Just point the toe away from you. Feel that length through the side of the body. Lift it up through the waist, just placing your hand where it's comfortable. We're going into our little circles again. So imagine you've got a pencil on the end of your big toe. Inhale here. So you exhale, lift through the waist, and we'll just begin to circle that toe. So just keeping it small and slow to begin with. Feel that mobility through the ball and socket joint within the hip. The minimizing movement here through the low back. Keep the abdominals active to help with that. Take it a little bit bigger if you want to. If you're confident, you're stable and in control. 3, 2, 1. Come back, rest to the center, and we'll take it the other way. Inhale. Exhale, let's take it around. Always inhaling to come back, exhale as you take it backwards. So feeling that muscle now on the outside of the hip really starting to work. Let's do another 4, 3, keeping lifted, 2, and 1. Well done. Bring the knees together, give your bum, your hip a little rub. Oh, well done. Let's come lie on our backs for a little bit. So the legs can be bent. So feet again hip distance apart. Just keeping the knees in line with the hips, so don't allow them to roll in towards each other. Just resting the arms by the side, so just keep the upper body nice and relaxed. Just going to go into some pelvic tilt, so just mobilizing again the low back, just bringing a little bit of strength as well into the core. So inhale here. As we exhale, let's turn the tailbone under. So we're just hovering the bum off the floor, so the bum just starts to lift. So squeezing here through the thighs just to assist with that. And then just gently lower it down as you inhale. Exhale, let's turn that tailbone under. Just have that little lift, little hover through the hips, squeezing that bum. And gently lower it down. Exhale, lift. And lower. Last one, exhale, lift. Feel those pelvic floor muscles working as well. You should know where they are by now. And lower it down. Okay, so keeping that neutral feeling with the pelvis. So we want that little arch through the lower back. So I'm going to just move the legs independently of each other. So just keeping an eye on what the non-moving side is doing. So we want that to stay nice and stable. So working into the lower abdominals here for that stability as well as the pelvic floor. So inhaling. As we exhale, I'm just going to slide one leg away from us. So like we were doing when we were on all fours, just imagining that it's on a rail, so pointing the toe away from you, just opening out through the front of the hip, and then inhale to bring it back. Just keeping contact with the floor, just keeping that control of the movement. Exhale, let's take it forward. Opposite side. And bring it back. So just take it left to right in your own pace. Keeping the low back nice and stable. So we should keep that little arch through the low back. And bring it up. Exhale. And last one. Let's take it long. So staying in the same starting position, we're now going to move the leg the other way. So keeping that bend in the knee. You're going to lift and bring the toes up towards the ceiling, bringing the knee in towards us. So working more here into the quads at the front of the thigh. Bring it down. Exhale, let's bring that knee in towards us. Again, just being mindful to keep that single plane of motion, avoid any deviation through the hip. Just lifting and lowering here. Keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed. Exhale, let's lift, pointing those toes away from you. Bring them in as far as you can. And let's do one more on each side. Exhale. And lower. And last one. Keeping those hip joints nice and healthy here. Bring it down. We're going to add an arm to this movement as well. So similar to what we did when we were standing. So we're going to take the leg long again, and as the leg goes long, the opposite arm is going to come overhead. So really elongating through the length of the body. So imagining that the arm and legs are being pulled in opposite directions, but keeping the pelvis here in neutral. So we don't want to flare up through the ribs. We want to keep that connection through the core so the spine stays where it should be. Exhale, let's take the arm and the leg long. Pull that tummy button in here for stability and slide it over back to center. Exhale. If it's too much, just move the legs or just move the arms. And move it back. Exhale. Really reaching away from you. We'll do one more each side. Exhale. And back. Last one. Exhale as you take it long. Pull that tummy button in and back to center. Well done. Oh, just take a breath. And when you're ready, we're going to come back up to seated. A couple of little stretches. Finish off. So just taking the legs where they're comfortable. And take the arms out to the side, just taking them to shoulder height. And as we inhale, we're going to bring them forward. So give yourself a little hug. So flexing here through the spine, just collapsing through the middle. And as we exhale, we're going to take them wide and squeeze the shoulders together. So really opening out through the chest. So good mobilizer here for the upper back. Just keeping the pelvis in neutral. Bring it back to center. Take the other arm over the top this time. Give yourself a little hug. And exhale as you take the arms behind you. Ooh, let's do one more of those on each side because that feels good. So a little hug and inhale. Exhale, let's take it wide. Inhale, let's take it around again. Last little hug. Exhale, take those arms wide behind you. Squeeze the shoulders together. Just come and press the hands onto your knees. So we're going to take one hand just behind our knee, just by the side of our hip. Take the opposite hand now over to that thigh. And just keeping your hips stable on the floor. So the exhale is just rotate round. So just pushing onto that thigh, just feeling that rotation here. Particularly through the upper back. So there's not much rotation through the lower back, but having our hips nice and stable just helps us to extend that movement a little bit more without dragging the lower back into it. And bring it back to center. So swapping the position of the hand. So one hand comes down by your side, the other hand comes on top of the thigh. And as we exhale, let's sweep that hand behind and just push ourselves around. Just having a little look over that shoulder as well, just to extend into the neck. Gently release. Bring it all back to center. Okay, one last time, we're just going to clasp the hands together. Turn the palms towards me. I'm going to take them up towards the ceiling. So just lengthening here through the arm. And as we exhale, let's take it over to one side. So laterally flexing here through the spine, keeping your hips pushed down to the floor. Back to center. And the other way. And bring it up and lower it down, and you are all done.